In a move that's shaking up the global economy, President Donald Trump has just fired a financial warning shot, targeting one-third of the world's population. Speaking in Washington, D.C. on March 27, 2025, Trump announced that if other nations try to block the use of American currency, the U.S. will hit back, with extra tariffs on every BRICS country. That includes not just China or Russia, but the entire bloc: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. It's the first time he's made a threat this bold, and it's rare for any U.S. president to take aim at such a massive chunk of the global economy, all at once. The White House trade team has already created a plan to do this, even though some people in the government are worried that this could reduce the world's GDP and cause inflation around the world. But why is the president taking such a risk? Could this be the beginning of the end for the American dollar? Or is Trump just bluffing in the biggest economic game in history? Tune in to learn the impact of this on your wallet and the future of global finance. BRICS challenge to dollar hegemony. For many years, the US dollar has been the world's most important currency, used in international trade and finance. Now, the BRICS nations are openly challenging this dominance by discussing alternatives to reduce their dollar dependence. While experts are doubtful that these countries can quickly create a new global reserve currency, they are exploring different options, such as a BRICS bank, gold-backed trade systems, and bilateral currency agreements. Russia and China, who are already facing sanctions for their involvement in the Ukraine crisis, see breaking their dependence on the dollar as a strategic move. India is slowly starting to diversify its financial options by, for example, using rupees to pay for oil. Brazil's president has said that he doesn't understand why trade between nations must use dollars. South Africa thinks that alternatives to the dollar are important for developing nations to have more control over their economies. This isn't just an economic theory. More and more transactions are happening outside the dollar system. Some experts call these places financial islands, and they could eventually become continents. Strategic and security implications. Trump's strong stance on this issue shows how important it is to the United States to have a strong dollar. The dollar is America's most powerful non-military tool. It allows the U.S. to impose sanctions, monitor global transactions, and maintain its economic influence around the world. Washington is worried about the possibility of other countries like Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa creating their own ways to conduct business that could escape U.S. supervision. Trump's approach is a big change from the usual divide-and-rule diplomacy to collective punishment. If you unite against American interests, I will crush you all together. This shows how worried American leaders are about the threat to the dollar's global dominance. Trump says he will use the economy as a weapon to try to change the world. If the dollar loses even a little of its dominance, America might have more difficulty showing its power around the world. If you like this analysis and want to know more about global economics, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. It helps us reach more viewers like you. Now let's chart the next course and break down what's coming next. Potential economic consequences of the tariffs. If the U.S. imposed 100 to 150% tariffs on BRICS nations, it would cause economic problems around the world. These countries together make up almost 25% of the world's GDP and more than 40% of the world's population. If we disrupt these massive trade flows, it will immediately impact American consumers and businesses that rely on these nations for everything from raw materials to finished goods. Imagine prices for electronics, textiles, minerals, and agricultural products going up a lot overnight. 70s American companies that depend on global supply chains would have to deal with these costs themselves or pass them on to consumers. If China and India then do the same and restrict or tax American products, the situation could get really bad, like during the Great Depression. Impact on individual BRICS nations. Each BRICS member has different interests in this important confrontation. Russia, which is already dealing with Western sanctions, has limited direct trade with the U.S. and is pushing for alternative currencies in BRICS the most. Russia has developed ways to trade the ruble with the yuan and the rupee. Because of this, Russia needs alternatives to the dollar if it wants to survive economically. China is America's largest trading partner, so it stands to lose a lot from new tariffs. But it also has the ability to retaliate because it owns a lot of U.S. debt. India is in a complicated position. It wants to work with the U.S. and also work with BRICS countries. If India were forced to choose sides, its relationship with the US could quickly get worse. India might restrict American technology companies and impose reciprocal tariffs. Brazil would suffer greatly if it lost access to American markets for its agricultural exports, especially soy and meat. South Africa would be hurt if America stopped buying its critical minerals. However, these economic challenges might actually encourage BRICS countries to work together more as they look for new markets and ways to pay for their goods. Potential for BRICS expansion and unity. Trump's threat might accidentally make the BRICS countries work together more, even though they have a lot of differences. While China and India have border problems, Russia is facing international isolation, and Brazil and South Africa are dealing with domestic economic challenges. The possibility of joint action could bring them together in their shared goal of reducing their reliance on the dollar. The BRICS group is already growing. Other countries like Argentina, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt are interested in joining. If more countries join, BRICS could represent nearly 2/3 of the world's population and a massive share of global economic power. As one expert put it, nothing creates allies faster than a common enemy. Trump may be hoping that economic pressure will scare these nations back into using the dollar, but history shows that this kind of strategy often backfires. Instead of backing down, BRICS members might actually accelerate their efforts to break free from the US-led financial system. If they're going to be punished either way, they might decide it's better to go all in and fully commit to building an alternative global economy. Experts are worried about Saudi Arabia's recent interest in joining BRICS because of its important role in the global oil market. If Saudi Arabia starts using a different payment system for its oil sales, it could speed up the process of other countries moving away from the US dollar. Trump's tough stance on tariffs against the group as a whole might accidentally push for deeper BRICS integration. According to some White House documents, some advisors think that the tariff threat might be remembered as the moment America accidentally helped create a new dollar alternative by forcing traditional rivals to find common ground against a shared adversary. What happens next? The global stakes in your financial future. This confrontation is the biggest challenge to the economic order that came after World War II that we will live through. Lawrence Summers, a former Treasury Secretary, said that finance being used as a weapon might speed up its division. Some experts say that different regions will form their own financial groups, which will create a multipolar monetary system, a system with many centers of power for the first time since World War II. However, some experts believe that the dollar's strong network and America's strong economy will keep it dominant even with these challenges. What do you think about this high-stakes financial chess game? Could the BRICS nations successfully create a viable alternative to the dollar? Are Trump's threatened tariffs a smart negotiation tactic or a risky move? Will American consumers benefit from maintaining the dollar's dominance, or would they suffer more from potential trade wars? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more updates, in-depth analyses, and economic insights. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, stay curious and stay fueled. Feel free to check out any of the videos on the screen. There's plenty more to explore.